Okay. Hi everybody. I just wanted to share a little bit about my reading project with you that I've been working on this semester. My project was on sharks, and I worked with a 9-year-old boy. He'll be 10 soon, and he is in the 3rd grade. He is mainstreamed in the public school setting, and he communicates primarily through ASL. He has an interpreter all day, and he is profoundly deaf, and he has a cochlear in one ear, and he's going to get a second one this summer. So that's kind of some background on my student. Towards the beginning of the semester, I did 4 different assessments across different areas of literacy. So the first one was to measure vocabulary recognition, and to do that I used John's basic reading inventory, that word list, and he scored instructional on a 2nd grade level, so about 1 year behind where he should be. The next area was expressive vocabulary, and to measure that I used the expressive one-word picture vocabulary test. And he scored in the 8th percentile, about a 6-year-old equivalency, so that's about 3 years behind where he should be. The next area was for text comprehension, and to do that I also used the basic reading inventory. And this is the area that he scored the lowest in, and there was the largest gap. And he scored instructional on a pre-primer level. And a big reason for that is because when he reads, he just calls words. He doesn't scan the sentence first to find the bigger picture or look for conceptual accuracy. So that's a big area of concern for him. And then the final area was fluency. And to measure that, I used the signed reading fluency rubric. And he also has some room to improve there. He scored poor in visual grammar and immersion in fluency envelope. So those were the 4 areas. So after that, I made goals for each area. So in vocabulary, my goal for him was to be able to sign 8 out of 10 words. For comprehension, I wanted him to be able to retell a story because he can't do that. So I wanted him to be able to retell a story including 3 out of 5 elements, like character, setting, the problem, important events, and the solution at the end. For morphological decoding, I wanted him to be able to match a prefix with its meaning. And for fluency, I wanted him to be able to read a sentence with negation and use a negative head shake to show that in ASL. So those are the 4 goals. So next you'll see a rubric that I made, and this shows all of his results before I did any instruction during my lessons. And it's just all summarized in one place. So I made a scale, 1 to 4. 4 is the highest, 1 is the lowest, for the 4 areas that I measured. And so 3 of the areas he got a 1, which was the lowest, and 1 area he got a 2. So that made a total of 5 out of 14 points. So some room for improvement. So the standards that I used were, one was for language, and it was to report on a topic or text, tell a story, or recount an experience with appropriate facts and relevant descriptive details, speaking clearly at an understandable pace. And the other one was for reading fluency, and it was to read with sufficient accuracy and fluency to support comprehension. So those are the standards that I incorporated into my lessons. Okay, so my first lesson was with the book, The 3 Little Fish and the Big Bad Shark. And on that one, I used vocabulary and comprehension. Okay, let's see. I made a PowerPoint to help with the vocabulary, and I used my cell phone to record the retell. So next you'll see a picture of a visual organizer and a stick person walking across it, and so we made that in real life, but it was bigger on butcher block paper. So, okay, vocabulary. Before instruction, the student was able to sign 1 out of the 10 words, and then after instruction, he was able to sign all 10, so he did a lot better. In comprehension, before my lesson, he was able to retell a story with one story element, and after the lesson he was able to retell with 3. So he did better there. The next lesson was with an article from Scholastic News, so kind of like a newspaper for kids, and it was called The Truth About Sharks. And my student loved this one, which was surprising to me because I thought he would like the fiction better than nonfiction, but he loves the nonfiction. So I learned that about my student. In this lesson plan, I measured fluency and vocabulary. So for fluency, before instruction, he did not use a head shake on any of the sentences. And after instruction, he used the head shake on all of them. And for vocabulary, I didn't measure very well. Before the lesson, I tried to pick out which words I thought he would not be familiar with. And I was wrong on some. So to start with, before instruction, he knew the sign for 6 out of 10 of my words. But one of the words had 2 signs, so it was really 6 out of 11. And then after instruction, he got 11 out of the 11. For the third lesson plan, we did a book called 20 Fun Facts About Sharks, and my student also liked this one because it was also nonfiction. And what we did is we took one fun fact and focused on it, and we worked on morphological decoding and fluency. So for morphological decoding, before instruction, the student was not able to match the prefix with its meaning, and we worked on the prefix un, un, spelled un. So he was not able to do that, but after instruction he could. And for fluency, before instruction, the student signed the first sentence, he did not use the head shake, and on the second one he recognized the negative word, it was the word not, and so he remembered that one from our previous lesson, so he self-corrected and then used the head shake for the rest of them. And then post-instruction, he used the head shake for all of them. And then our final lesson plan for this unit was with the book Rainbow Fish, Puffer Cries Shark. And that one we worked on comprehension and morphological decoding. So for comprehension, before instruction, the student retold a story with 2 elements. And after instruction, he retold the story with 4 elements. So that was good. He was really stuck on the problem part of retelling, so we're going to work some more on that. And then for morphological decoding, before instruction, the student did not match the prefix to its meaning, and this time we worked on re, spelled R-E, and then after instruction, he was able to match the word with its meaning. And so next you'll see the post-instruction rubric, and that's similar to the pre-instruction. It just shows the progress that he made across the 4 areas all in one place, the same scale. And so this time in 3 areas he scored 4 points, which was the highest. And then in the other area he scored 2, which was the highest for that area. So that was a total of 14 out of 14 points. So he definitely made improvements over the course of our unit. And next, my last slide is my reflections, and I've shared a lot of that as we've gone through, but one thing that I didn't mention was on my first lesson plan, I tried to include too much. Comprehension just takes a long time for my student to read the story and go through it and retell it, so I tried to cram too much into one lesson, and so that's something that next time I'll do differently to spread that out a little bit more. But other than that, everything else on this slide I've pretty much included when I talked about the lessons. But I hope your themed units went well and that they were successful too. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.